Hello, how's everybody doing? Excellent, excellent. Well, good afternoon. My name is Sam Shorter. I'm the president of the Austin branch of the American Society of Civil Engineers. Welcome to our May luncheon. Thank you all who are here in person and who are attending virtually. Excited for our presentation today. We're going to highlight our EWRI Institute, and we have an exciting presentation from Freese and Nichols. And also we're going to hear from all our various groups, including the UT student chapter, our scholarship recipients, some of our community service recent activities, and all the upcoming things here throughout the remainder of our year. So we're excited today that you could join us, and just glad that we're back in the groove. And do want to let y'all know we do have one more meeting during this ASCE year, if you will, and it'll be held here in June. So we will be holding elections for the board of directors, and so it's an important meeting if you are a member to attend. So that's all I got, and so I'd like to welcome up Tyler and some of the speakers.
Thank you, Sam. So welcome everybody. My name is Tyler Doobie and I'm your Vice President of Programs. And this is our second to last luncheon before we all break for summer. And you can tell that we've been very busy leading up till this point. We've got a lot of announcements of event recaps and still several more events just before our summer break. So we've got a lot of announcements coming your way this afternoon. We do have a little bit faster of a turnaround time between now and our next meeting. It'll be here in 3 weeks from today. It's June 7th. So we're going to be hearing from the Texas section. They've got some really great folks that have put together a report on the resiliency and reliability of our electric grid. So kind of an exciting and sort of topical thing. I'm sure you've all been hearing from ERCOT about the summer heat wave coming, or almost feels like it's already here. So should be interesting. So don't be surprised when we're spamming your inboxes in the next week or two for registration reminders. Let's see. I did want to do a little exercise before we get started with announcements. Speaking of spamming your inboxes, we've noticed that many of you wait till the very last minute to register, and we're wondering, is there a better way to reach you? So let's do a little show of hands. Would it be, and Griselda, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, so get out your pen and let's write down the most favorable options. First idea that's been floated is maybe like a text blast. Anybody in favor of like an SMS text message type of e-blast alternative? Don't be afraid to say no. Would that interest anybody, or would you say heck no? All right, wow, okay. First bad idea out of the way. What about a recurring calendar invite? This is something that we've toyed around with adding to our website instead of the monthly e-blast with links. Looks like we have a lot of interest in that back table over there. So that's something that we'll definitely explore for kind of our fall resuming activities, because one thing that we, I guess, struggle with is setting up these links to register kind of on a month-to-month basis. But if we can get all those set up for the whole year, you can get it all logged in your Outlook, maybe that'd be an easier way to do it. Here's another thought. Anybody interested in some sort of auto pay or auto register? You know you're going to come to these every month. You want to just sign up? We got one taker in the back. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that gives us some pointers on what to explore for the fall. So thank you. Griselda will be posting our announcement slides and the program in the chat for our virtual participants. Anybody that has announcements today, y'all can queue up here, up at the front. We're ready to start that. Oh, geez, messed up my system. All right, well, I guess we can deal with this. I have slides for many of you, so jump in when it's your turn. There's a cheat sheet on the back of your program for order, so we'll go ahead and get into it. So first up is the UT Concrete Canoe Team.
Yeah. Hi, I'm the incoming president for the UT Austin ASCE branch. I'm really excited to talk to y'all a little bit. I'll pass it over to On very shortly, but I just wanted to give a little overview of all the things we get to do from our awesome student branch. We do a lot of the similar things y'all do, you know, meeting and getting to know people and networking and stuff. So here are a couple of pictures of us at different events, socials, volunteering, design competitions, networking with companies and orgs and all of those things. So that is some of our membership. Some cool statistics that we pulled. We had 358 registered student members last year. This definitely went down a lot during COVID, and we've been trying to push it back up. So we're getting back up there in the numbers that we want to see for our student membership. We were awarded 5 plaques at our conference this past year for the different design competitions. That means we got 1st through 3rd in 5 different competitions that we participated in against all of the schools in Texas, Mexico, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. We hosted 53 official events in one semester, and then we collaborated with 18 different companies to host events in the past year. So I'll kind of pass it over to On from there.
All right, hey y'all. I'm one of the co-captains for our concrete canoe team. If you haven't heard of it before, we just make a canoe out of concrete. It's pretty self-explanatory. But my co-captain Boris is going to be here today, so it'll just be me talking. I apologize for that in advance if you get tired of my voice. So the quick introduction is I'm a senior. I'm interested in water resources and land development, which is where I'll be working once I graduate. I've had 3 years in canoe, so as my co-captain Boris. So we did this around our sophomore year. And fun fact about me is that I really enjoy martial arts. That's my hobby. So that's how I stay sane whenever I start working. So some highlights about our team this past year, we had 25 active members, which for a design competition, you know, some of our design competitions only have 3 members in it. So having 25 is something I'm really proud about. Also, 5 of them stepped up to become leaders so that I could delegate tasks to them. We ended up having 4 sub teams that we'd be able to switch out tasks between. And we have 6 paddlers that were, you know, actually there to paddle our canoe, and you know, we have 1 concrete canoe. So this is how our organization was structured. This changes every year based on what the co-captains feel like it. We actually cut this down. It was very large. There was about 10 sub teams last time. We thought that was a little bit too many because the main things we wanted to focus on is just concrete mixing, our aesthetics, so what our canoe looks like. The hull design, which is the shape of the canoe, and also construction, so how we're going to build it. We decided to communicate with our team because, you know, that's a pretty important thing to do, something that was pretty lacking in some years past. So we decided to have some bi-weekly meetings, which is just us giving updates about what's going on, and also us being able to tell our members, hey, we're thinking of doing this. Do you guys think that would be a good idea? We didn't want to just, you know, it's a democracy. We want to include everybody's opinions on what should happen in the design. It shouldn't just be me and Boris telling people what's going to happen. And we also decided to just use Slack for smaller updates just because that GroupMe was a little bit too all-inclusive, and sending everyone a text message on SMS is just a little bit too much for us. So we have a theme each year. So our theme this year was bathtub. It was a last-second vote that happened at one of our team meetings, which is why we have the team meetings in the first place. We just have people vote on things. Wasn't my first choice, but I ended up liking it as we went along. So as we said, we can't have a concrete canoe without concrete. So first part of the semester, we focused a lot on our mix design. So we decided to experiment with some self-consolidating concrete. This was something new that popped up 2 years ago, but we decided to just keep getting tests on it because we wanted to just keep it going and see if we could push it even further. And we decided to share all the results of our mix testing observations to our teammates because we didn't want it to just be like, okay, cool, thanks you guys, mix concrete with us. We're not going to share anything about what we know now. We'll just leave you at it. And this way, our members actually got to learn a lot more about concrete, more so than just, hey, I need you to just put this in the mixer, just listen to me, and that's pretty much it. And we ended up being able to make a 85 PCF mix and a 28-day compressive strength of 2600 PSI. So that was all we needed for our canoe based on our structural analysis. Next up was our hull design and mold construction. We decided to make the canoe a little bit boxier this year because our paddlers were new. If we had more experienced paddlers, we would have made it more streamlined. But unfortunately, that was just not the case this year since we were going back to in-person activities from COVID last year. In order to make the actual mold for the canoe, we actually CNC 234 sections of foam, as you can see right there on the right pictures. And we also decided to make a wooden frame around it so that it'd be able to support it, because we don't want things to shift and then we have like a giant lump of concrete on one side and a really thin wall of concrete on the other side. And eventually this all led up to pour day, which is whenever we actually make the canoe. So we had a total of 22 participants out of the 25 members that we had. Made sure to pre-batch the mixed materials so that we could just get things going. And we just had more experienced members quality check the mix. And we also made sure that we had to practice a week beforehand, because this is probably one of the most stressful days of the entire year for us. So we wanted to make sure that everything went off without a hitch. And this just showcased our process a little bit as we go along. So top left was us getting ready to put on some aesthetic components on the mold. Second was us pouring the first layer of concrete down. We put the reinforcement in there. Third is we put the nail mold on top, and then we just start filling in the slits with concrete until it completely fills up, and then it forms the mold for the canoe. And once we uncovered it, it looked a little bit like that. Then obviously we needed a bit of work done on it, so we had to sand and seal it, make sure that it was about as hydrodynamic as possible. But other than that, we finally managed to finish it about, I'd say 2 weeks before competition started. And in the meantime, we were also making sure to practice paddling in previous concrete canoes and also actual plastic canoes. So we had 6 registered paddlers, and we also had weekly practices at Lake Austin, which was a huge advantage to us compared to other schools which didn't have access to a nearby body of water. And a lot of people walking by just kind of look at us and go, oh, is that made of cement or anything like that? And one of my favorite highlights is us flipping over in the canoes, as you can see in the bottom right picture, because it happens a decent amount of times. But unfortunately, what happened was that when we got to the competition, there was a structural weak point that we failed to notice on the side of it, and it didn't survive the transit to Houston. However, our team decided that, we can't just be staffed for that long. We made it here, we got here, we might as well keep finishing up with the competition. So let's give it our best shot and let's see what happens. So we decided to just go out into the parking lot and just do right back up together. And you may be thinking, wow, does that actually still work? And you believe it or not, it does. So we actually had to fill it up with water, push it into the water and make sure it floats. If all the other schools were looking at us and seeing if we were failing, because we're probably the team most likely to fail. But the tape ended up working out, and we actually managed to participate in all 3 races. So once we finished with the race day, we attended a banquet or the award ceremony, similar to what we're doing right now. And there are all our members dressed up, just waiting for the awards. And surprisingly enough, we got called up to receive our awards. So I won't go through all of the award we received, but I guess the most important one is that we actually ended up getting 3rd overall out of 12 teams that participated. So it's not 3rd out of 4 teams, but and it's mainly due to the fact that we managed to score so high in the racing components because of all our practice, even with the canoe, being as it was. So as a future team, I just, this is our manual saying, hey, this is advice from the past that we wish we knew. This is stuff that we think that y'all should know about. But all in all, we're just telling our future captains, hey, make a canoe that doesn't have a weak point in it, and you will probably get first if you can get there with a broken canoe. So we just want to say thank you so much for all your support. This wouldn't be possible without sponsorship from Austin ASCE, as we're a self-funded team. And these are just a bunch of group photos we had. And that's pretty much all I had. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. See if this works. No, it's not on. Okay. Hi, folks. In the words of Monty Python, now for something completely different. My name is James Mercer. Besides being an ASCE member, I am also an officer in the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, particularly the particularly the Power Society here in town. We are presenting a workshop on electrical grounding, lightning protection, issues like that, which means absolutely nothing to almost anybody here. However, if you have in your firm an electrical engineer, whether he's doing illumination, traffic signals, or anything else, please let that engineer know that we are presenting the workshop. It's not this Thursday, but Thursday of next week. Currently, the last day for early registration is this Thursday. However, if you're interested, swing by and pick up one of my business cards. There's no charge for them. And pass that to the person. If he will email me or call me, even after the deadline, I can get that person in at the correct rate. That's because I'm in charge and I can do a lot of things. So electrical grounding, pass that word to your electrical engineers, and no charge for the cards. I'm sitting over here. Thank you very much.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Bradley East. I'm the past president and the current nominations chair. Just wanted to give y'all an update. So we are still in the process of finalizing our proposed slate of officers for next year. Once finalized, we'll present that to you via email. And then subsequent to that, we will actually vote during our June luncheon next month. In the interim, we are still accepting nominations through the end of this month, and we are accepting nominations for these positions. So President-elect, Vice President Programs, Secretary, Treasurer-elect, Communications Director, Section Director, and Younger Member Director. So if you have a nomination, please reach out to me. Thank you all.
All right, my name is Michael Chavez. I am on the Community Outreach Committee. So we had our spring service event, April 30th. And first of all, I just want to thank everyone who was able to attend. We had a great event. Out of the 15 spots that ASCE reserved, we actually had 16 attend. So definitely a fantastic turnout. We helped at the Central Texas Food Bank warehouse by inspecting and preparing food donations for distribution. And thanks to our efforts, ASCE helped to provide 150 boxes of food, or 3,375 meals. Again, thank you all for attending our events throughout the year, and we look forward to next year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Hudson. I'm the YMF director. So for y'all graduating from UT, make sure you tell everyone that's staying in Austin to join us here. So YMF is the younger member forum. So everyone that's 35 and under, you automatically, if you're an Austin branch member, you automatically get enrolled in YMF. So I wanted to thank everyone for coming out to our golf tournament. I heard it was a great event. Next coming up, we have a service event at Sammy's house this weekend, and that's where we're going to present our donation check from our golf tournament. There's also a party barge with YPT, which is always fun every year. That's June 4th. We also have Primax coming up in August. If you have any questions about that, Austin is here and he is one of our conference members, chairs helping out with that. What that is, that's the Central Region Younger Member Council as part of ASCE. So the whole Central Region is coming to Austin for a conference. We are also looking to fill our board positions for next year. If you're interested, you can email this link or you can just come talk to me after and I can tell you about all of our open positions and what they all entail. We also do a scholarship. Ours is a high school scholarship geared towards high school seniors that are going into the STEM field. We just granted our scholarships. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today because they all have finals. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about both of our recipients. Jackson Mercer is from Hutto, Texas. Graduating in May of 2022 from Hutto High, Jackson Mercer is thrilled to be a scholarship recipient. Born in Kansas City, Jackson moved to Hutto in 2015 as a 6th grader. He takes a holistic approach to schooling, making sure to balance academics, extracurricular activities, and social life. Jackson is an AP scholar with distinction and is graduating at number 4 out of a class of 528 while being a student athlete all 4 years of high school. He participated in junior ROTC as well as UIL academic competitions and various other campus organizations. Jackson plans to attend Texas A&M in the fall to pursue a degree in computer science with an emphasis on coding. In his spare time, he enjoys playing sand volleyball with his friends, playing video games with his dad, or helping his mom in the garden. He has an older sister, Catherine, who is a newly registered nurse, and a brother, George, who is in 7th grade. Our other recipient is Sarah Chu. Sarah Chu was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and raised in Austin, Texas. Currently a senior attending McNeil High School, just down the road. She is a National Merit finalist and holds multiple leadership positions, including National Honor Society, McNeil Orchestra, and the Sapphire Dancers. She wants to explore more about the sustainability of the construction industry, as well as learn about how to make public transportation more accessible. She had the privilege to extern at Turner Construction through ACE Austin in summer 2021 and will intern at TxDOT this summer. Sarah plans to study civil engineering at the University of Texas at Austin starting this fall. So those are 2 scholarship recipients, and we're glad to be able to do that. We just started a couple years ago, so we're hoping to continue to do that in the following years. Thanks.
So I don't have a slide, but I'm just going to ad lib. My name is Reed Johnson, and I'm the chair of the ASCE Scholarship Committee. Every year we give out scholarships to students who are civil engineering students at UT Austin, sophomore, juniors, or seniors, and involved in ASCE. And this year is no different. We gave out 3 scholarships, and we have 1 recipient with us, Ms. Carolyn. Would you like to come up and receive your award? What grade you're in?
Hello, I'm Caroline. I'm a sophomore studying civil engineering at UT Austin. And I'm also involved in the UT ASCE student branch. Thank you.
I'm sorry we don't have one of those big checks to give you last minute, but maybe next year.
All right, I will give the announcement for SEI. This is coming from Scott Wallace. For those of you that don't know about SEI, they offer professional meetings every other month, September through May. So their next meeting is in May. These usually feature a presentation on some current projects, research, or developments in the structural engineering profession. So the May meeting will be the last meeting before breaking for summer and returning in the fall. This meeting will feature Dr. GQ Yuan from the National Institute of Building Sciences. He will draw on his 15 years of research experience in earthquake engineering, as well as his code writing experience to discuss turning research into application. More information can be found on the SEI website, which this QR code will take you there. They also have technical tours. They periodically replace their professional meeting with a technical tour. In the past, these have been pretty exciting because you get to go to places like Circuit of the Americas, the F1 track, or the Waller Creek intake facility near the Capitol. They'll be doing that again in the fall, so look out for announcements in the fall. Unfortunately, SEI will not be holding the SET structural engineering talks this year, so stay tuned for 2023. And next up, we have Griselda, the social media announcement.
Hi, my name is Griselda. I am the social media chair. Just wanted to come up and remind everybody to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and to remind everyone that these meetings are recorded and they are posted on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out too. Thank you.
Well, I'm Austin Meshley, and Kaylin talked about this a little bit. Austin is hosting the CRIMAC, the CRYMC, in August this year. Registration is open. This is a great event. We bring in about 70 to 90 younger members from Canada to Texas and Michigan to Colorado, so all over the central United States. And it's a great leadership opportunity and trading opportunity, as well as meeting fellow colleagues that also are involved with ASCE as well, that kind of you'll get to meet with them on a regular basis if you attend a lot of these meetings or you get involved on the national level. Registration is all on asce.org. It's actually a really long hyperlink, so I didn't want to put it on there, take up the whole slide. But if you want it, email me. And then the actual event information is on our Austin website. So we plan on doing a party barge to see the bats on Friday as a social event and awards banquet, and then going to a social on Saturday evening at Bull and Bowl, if you're familiar with those places. So, and then the last thing, we are looking for people that want to help out a little bit. We got a strong contingent of about 5, but we could also use a few others. And then second to last, or the last thing is, we are going to be seeking sponsorships for this event. So it's a great event to get your company shown in front of people from all over, and we get to highlight some of the great things we're doing here in Austin. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is actually my second time at a ASCE meeting. So my name is Kayla Swadine, and I work with Edge Engineering doing water resources, stormwater engineering. And I'm currently the EWI president-elect. I've been involved with EWI for about 3 or 4 years now, doing various positions. But I wanted to tell y'all a little bit more about EWI if you're not familiar, and also some of the volunteer events we've done recently, and also details on how you guys can get involved if you're interested in more participation with EWI. So recently, we participated in some creek cleanups, one of which was partnered with YMF, with the creek that they have adopted, Shoal Creek. They've adopted a section of Shoal Creek downtown. So we helped out with that event this year, and that'll be one of 4 creek cleanups events for Shoal Creek with Keep Austin Beautiful. And we also did a Williamson Creek cleanup that our social chair, Parker Coleman, organized. So we did that 2 weekends ago, had a pretty good turnout. Have a little picture there if you want to take a look. We also are actively engaged with rain garden buildings at several elementary schools in the Austin area. Recently, we did a spring rain garden build at Matthews Elementary. So we did some ditch digging and landscaping for the rain garden at that elementary school. And this is part of a continued effort with the UT Mentorship Rain Garden Program. So we'll have some student volunteers who usually come out. And it's just an opportunity to teach them about water quality, landscaping, and like what that looks like in the real world application. And so really like a teaching opportunity and a partnership opportunity with some of the elementary schools in the area. And then recently we had our 17th continuing education workshop, which takes up a bulk of EWI's effort each year. It was a really good success. We had a great turnout of about 100 people, which was quite the improvement from last year because we had about 60 in-person attendees with our hybrid workshop last year. So we're very excited about the turnout. It's a really great networking opportunity. And I just wanted to give a shout out to anyone that's sponsored. We have our sponsorship companies up on the slide. It would not be possible without our sponsors supporting us. And each year we actually take the sponsorship amount that we receive and we funnel it into our scholarships each year. So this year at the workshop, we also gave out 7 scholarships to high school and undergraduate college students. I think last year we gave out 5. So from the proceeds from the workshop last year and our sponsorship money, we were able to account for 7 scholarships this year, which was an increase. So we really appreciate y'all's support and engagement. And we'll start planning the next workshop this fall. If you guys do want to be more involved, you could definitely find me after this or shoot me an email at kswadine@civil-edge.com. We have details on our website about each of our monthly meetings, which we usually do a virtual and in-person option. So if you guys wanted to virtually check in our monthly meetings, if you're interested, please feel free to do so. We have all the information on our website, which I also have listed. Additionally, we have some elections going on in August, so we'll be opening up several of our chair positions. So our communications chair, our community outreach chair, our social chair, and our treasurer-elect positions will be open in August. So if you guys are at all interested, just keep up to date with our website and feel free to come to our next monthly meeting, June 13th. Thank you, guys.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Arturo Terrazas, and I'm a project manager with Freese and Nichols with their transportation department. Freese and Nichols is this month's sponsor. So Freese and Nichols plans, designs, and manages infrastructure projects with a focus on quality as well as innovative solutions. Founded in 1894, F&I offers stability as a long-term trusted advisor and utilizes its national expertise to meet contemporary challenges. As the first engineering architecture firm to earn the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award, Freese and Nichols consistently delivers award-winning solutions backed by clients' focused support. Freese and Nichols, over 900 plus employees work together to uphold the company's mission, which is innovative approaches, practical results, and outstanding service. Our company culture is guided by a set of values that cultivate an environment of respect and ethical actions. Across offices in Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, New Mexico, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Texas, our multidisciplinary teams are integrated, connected to provide seamless professional consulting services. We help clients through all stages of the project lifecycle: planning, design, program management, funding, procurement, regulatory and environmental compliance, construction management, operations, and maintenance. It is also my honor to introduce today's presenter, Dr. DeSilva. Dr. DeSilva has more than 30 years of experience on water and wastewater treatment projects across the US and 12 other countries, including PFAS management and treatment projects in 5 states, working with airports, landfills, and other contaminated sites. He has been published and presented at over 170 industry journals and conferences, authored EPA, WEF, ASCE, and AWWA manuals of practice. And his recent PFAS work is cited in AWWA and EPA publications. Dr. DeSilva currently serves on the WEF PFAS task force and works closely with the National EPA Council on PFAS and state agencies for development of the new PFAS regulations. Dr. DeSilva's AWWA's paper, Managing and Treating PFAS Membrane Concentrates, has been selected for the 2021 AWWA Membrane Treatment Best Paper Award. Please help me welcome Dr. DeSilva.
Thank you very much. So you will be learning today about PFAS, new chemical that is going to be regulated by EPA pretty soon. Unfortunately, all of us in this room has PFAS in your blood right now because it is in several consumer products, water, some food. You will see from the presentation, and even in this carpet, if it is more than 8 years old, the chair. So the PFAS chemicals are produced by DuPont and 3M, and these chemicals were used in consumer products, including your makeup, lipsticks, Q-Tex, and other things as well. So I'm going to talk about some background and also give some what EPA is going to do with this chemical. This is a brand new chemical. This will be the next 10 years. Billions of dollars will be spent in United States to clean up these chemicals. And also I will give also some treatment plants that removes PFAS in United States, the operation treatment plants. So PFAS, in the PFAS family, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances
In this family, there are more than 5,000 chemicals. The two major chemicals in this family called PFOA and PFOS, those are the two chemicals that are closely looked at. And then why this is a bad chemical? Because it bioaccumulates. So if you take water or anyhow it gets into your body, it stays there. It won't exit. That's the problem. And then it gets cancer and other health issues. And that's why EPA is going to regulate in the next 3 years. So this chemical, in the chemical formula, you can see the two major PFOA and PFOS. You can see the 8 carbons here, the black here. So the lawyers, there are so many lawsuits, more than 100 right now in the United States, suing these chemical companies, and they call it C8 chemicals because there are 8 carbons on this formula. They repeal oil, water, and stains. That's why 3M and DuPont produced this chemical. They never thought it will get into humans. That's what the problem is. They produced this chemical in 1940s. It is in your non-stick pans, your boots, your raincoats, your ski gear. In firefighting foam is another area I'm going to talk. And that's, so as a kid, maybe you have played with the firefighting foam and you never knew that it might go inside through your skin. It will penetrate into your blood. The other thing, burger wrappers, McDonald's, the Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Inside these burger wrappers, there is a glossy glossy finish. So that finish that's why the PFAS is sprayed even inside pizza boxes, popcorn bags. That's what it is there. So when the food is hot, this chemical will transfer to the food and you have it during the college time and so forth. Right now in the United States, the chemical is banned, the C8 chemicals, the long chain. The short chain PFAS compounds are still, it won't stay in your body. It will exit in 2 weeks, not like 10, 15 years in the long chain, which is these chemicals. So it is found in chocolate cake, fish, meat, milk, and even kale. Now, how these things have found in these products is if the PFAS is contaminating this water or the fertilizer that applies to these food crops or the milk, the cows drink milk, drink water, it is contaminated. That's how these, it's not everywhere, every milk or every fish or every chocolate cake or every kale, but if it is contaminated, FDA has tested and it has found. The chocolate cake, probably there are 2 ways it can get it. Cake mix, inside the cake box, you will have a PFAS layer of maybe the paper that is packed in, it can transfer from there, or the milk used for the icing, and that can be contaminated. Fish, if the water bodies are contaminated, in Michigan, there are a lot of lakes, there are boats and saying don't fish. If you eat fish, some of these contaminated area, they will say only eat 1 meal per month or something like that. Also the deer hunting in Michigan, they have said don't hunt deer in this area because this area there is military camps that are firefighting foam has been used and the deer has drink the water around that area and then the meat has been contaminated because it is bioaccumulate. That's why the fish and other meats, there is some danger. So what EPA has done is they have come up with some action plan for a roadmap to regulate PFAS in 2019 they started, and they have an update to do some EPA methods to measure these compounds. And then last October, they decided to put some dates to regulate these chemicals. So the MCL's maximum contamination levels for the drinking water is coming up in the next 2-3 years. Once you have the EPA pass this regulation, all the drinking water sources has to comply. Today, even you don't know this water you are drinking has PFAS in it. So this is a good sign. And also there is some testing going on in the next 2 years in the United States for the drinking water that you are drinking. They have selected about 10,000 communities and they are testing while they are making these rules, they are testing the waters to see whether there is any PFAS compounds. So you can see the industries that produce these PFAS chemicals. So the airports, military installations, and the fire training facilities. Those are the major 3 that use firefighting foam. So this firefighting foam, even there is no fire, they have to test it. So every 3-4 months they test it, and it might be impervious area, and they test it, and then it can go to groundwater because it's left on impervious area. So near airports, near military installations, or near fire training facilities, if you have a private well, when you were a kid, if you lived somewhere close by and you drink from a private well, there is a 70-80% chance that you were drinking PFAS because that's about a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles max. That is a potential. That's been discovered in California and Michigan and other places. Other than that, like dry cleaning facilities, chrome plating facilities, those are also producing some of these PFAS chemicals, and they are also different states are doing surveys of these soils as well as the wastewater coming from these facilities. So EPA has a health advisory limit of 70 ppt, parts per trillion. The number for the parts per trillion is 1 drop of water in 20 Olympic-sized pools. That's this number is ppt. So there is a health advisory limit. EPA came up in 2016, but it is not enforceable. That's just a number that EPA came up with. But some of these states, California, Michigan, Minnesota, these states, they didn't want until the EPA will come up with some numbers. They came up with very stringent numbers of these PFOA and PFOS. The 70 ppt, the health advisory limit EPA told was listed is the summation of PFOA plus PFOS has to be this or less. But some states said it is single digits here, 10 or 20, and then California is the most stringent for the PFOA and PFOS, which is single digits 6 and 5. So how does these chemicals get into your water pathway? So firefighting foam, if you have an airport or a military facility, that firefighting foam can run off through a surface or it can contaminate the groundwater. If you have industries in your community, the industries such as these carpet and other industries, that waste product, the solid waste goes to a landfill. The water side goes to a wastewater treatment plant through an industrial pre-treatment program. A lot of industrial pre-treatment plants, pre-treatment program doesn't even have PFAS in their list, none. So the landfill accumulates your consumer products, carpets, maybe couches, car seats, and also jackets and shoes. And then that landfill has a very high level of PFAS in the leachate. The leachate is the water coming underneath the landfill that normally discharges to a wastewater plant. In the wastewater plant, there is no mechanisms to remove this PFAS chemical because it has to have a different type of, the bugs don't break it because it's very strong. That carbon fluorine bond is very, very strong. That's why it is not degrading and bioaccumulating. So it can go through biosolids or composting, and it can be applied to crops in the field. And that's how the kale gets it, because when the biosolids is applied to agricultural field, the kale can take that chemical and it is accumulated in the greens. So the water part, the effluent, can be discharged to a river or some water body, and that is the surface water, or the groundwater is the source for the potable water source. So that's how you will get it. But again, I mean, not all water is contaminated. Maybe 10 to 20% in United States, maybe 10, 15, 20% of the waters are contaminated. But if that water is not far from a military base, airport, or fire training facility, there's a very high potential that water is contaminated. I'm giving an example in New Mexico, near Lubbock, Texas. This is the Cannon Air Force Base. So you can see this is the plan view. In the middle of the Cannon Air Force Base, remember that 70 ppt? The water here is 24,000 ppt, the tested. This guy, the farmer, has about 1,800 cows, and all cows drank water, and his stock well has 1,700 ppt. So the milk that produced by these cows has 700 ppt, and he can't sell this milk. Every day this farmer dumps the milk to the ground, about 12,000 gallons a day. So he's out of business. Why? Because this whole in the Cannon Air Force Base contaminated the water. Water was drank by the cows, bioaccumulate, and even they die. Nobody's buying the meat because they are contaminated with PFAS. Just a case study, what's happening in New Mexico right now. So the UCMR5 is a sampling program that EPA just started. For every 5 years, they identify 30 chemicals and they test it for the whole community during different populations. So if your community is less than 3,300 population, they are doing 800 samples, and 800 communities between 3,300 and 10,000 population, about 5,000, and then over 10,000 population, about 4,000. So about 10,000 communities are going to be tested in the next 3 years for the PFAS. So this PFAS, so every 5 years, EPA identify 30 chemicals that are have some health impacts and testing. Guess what? This time, this round, out of the 30, 29 chemicals are PFAS chemicals. From that 5,000 family, they have identified 29 chemicals and another metal. They're going to test it. So that's the severity of this chemical. There are only 8 labs or 9 labs in the United States who can do this testing. And it's about $750 per sample that they to do the testing. Now, collecting a sample from a water sample, it is a special, nobody can go and just take a sample. It has a special method and checklist you have to do it, because everywhere it is PFAS. For example, if you are going to collect the sample the day before, you can't shampoo your hair, because that shampoo might have, and it can also contaminate, because that's PPT levels, very small levels, it can cross-contaminate. So you can't wear, jackets or the boots, you have to be PFAS free, and also the special gloves you have to use. So there is a special method, special procedures that in the EPA's state websites will tell you how to what are the things that you need to be careful of. So this UCMR5, Unregulated Contaminant Monitoring Rule 5, as I said, there is from 2023 January to 2025. Even Austin will be testing for this period. about 12 months floating period, they will be testing these. MCLs will be coming through this time period as well, and there will be regulations that will need to be followed by the drinking water folks. I'll also talk about industrial pre-treatment programs, because the wastewater treatment plants also get not just your home sewerage or any other things, and you will also get some industrial discharges. There might be some metal platers or some dry cleaning facilities in your community that discharges, and that contaminates your wastewater influent PFAS levels. That can be, and that the wastewater plants doesn't have any mechanisms that that they can remove PFAS unless there is a membrane treatment systems in the wastewater plant. So that effluent from the wastewater plants will pass through with PFAS to a surface water body or a creek, and that will be maybe an intake for a water plant downstream. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so that's an industrial pre-treatment program, including to include PFAS is very important in the future. Here, this is an example where Michigan has several treatment plants. These are municipal wastewater plants, and they have seen some industrial customers have discharging that some level of PFAS into their sewerage system. So what they have done is they want to stop at the source. They want to stop the PFAS coming into the system. So they have asked these guys to put a treatment system, in this case, granule activated carbon like charcoal, that will absorb the PFAS, and they have successfully reduced these PFAS chemicals about 99%. So let me tell you one thing. So when you have if you are drinking water from your refrigerator, and when you see that red light comes, the filter needs to be changed, change it. Otherwise, you will be drinking PFAS water. That's why this little filter underneath the fridge that has carbon in it. So that's the same thing these guys are doing, granule activated carbon. So you can think, oh, all right, I'll change it next week or 2 weeks from there. But it's better to change it right now. You never know that water has PFAS in it. So I'm going to talk about biosolids. That is the solids coming out of the wastewater plant. You can see the orange bars, which is about 12 milligrams per liter per kilogram for the PFAS concentrations. Normally, in a normal domestic sewer, biosolids producing plants has nothing much, not very high level. But look at this purple bar. This is not linear, this is a log scale. You can see how much the industry can impact the PFAS level, 195 versus the 13. So these biosolids in the future, when they will start measuring these concentrations, and they will be banned to do composting, the land application and so forth. So they might have to transport, if that facility is transporting 10 miles from now, they may have to transport 300 miles. So that cost will go 100% more or 60% more based on the distance they have to dispose, because new rules after the MCLs, the biosolids also will be influenced. The permits, the NPDES, the NPDES permits are the permits that required to discharge your water into the canal. So now Massachusetts already started to put PFAS in their permits just to monitor and report right now. There's no numbers here like these other chemicals, but they are already starting. So the wastewater plant, not only the water regulations, but wastewater plants are also monitoring this chemical to be implemented. So I'm going to talk about a case study or some contamination of a river in North Carolina. It's called Cape Fear River. So there is a chemical factory called Chemos. That's a DuPont spin-off that has producing Genex. This is one of the PFAS family chemicals, and this whole river is polluted with that because this chemical manufacturer discharge in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They discharge this chemical to this river. Guess what? Here at the downstream of this river, which is Cape Fear River, there are so many water plants that they take this as a raw water source. So they contaminate it, but then the EPA stopped them discharging because they saw that highly polluting this river. So you can see a treatment plant called Northwest Water Treatment Plant in Brunswick County, North Carolina. The raw water is the brown levels here, the chart, and then the treated water is the blue. So you can see there is no treatment going on with the existing treatment system. So a lot of plants, they can't remove PFAS in the existing. So that's why the billions of dollars in the next 10 years or 20 years has to be invested. And it's already happening in this treatment plant, and that has to be done once the MCLs are established. So this plant here are spending already $100 million adding this building with a reverse osmosis plant, and it will be ready in about next December, not this year, next year. And that's about 36 MGD. So they are already on the construction site on this plant. Another plant in North Carolina, it's already started last month, add granule activated carbon, the carbon filters to the existing plant, 8 filters. They spend about $36 million for 35 MGD plant, and they are operating, it's already operating right now. So people are already doing this. California is more stringent. You saw the levels. They are doing 36 PFAS treatment systems in the next 18 months. They are going to operate 36. 3 are already operating. This is near Anaheim, where the Disney is located. Orange County is in that area. So this plant is using ion exchange type vessels. They spend about $4 million for a 4.3 MGD facility. Last July, they started. And they are treating this groundwater. This is a groundwater, not the river water, but surface water, groundwater, and it is already operating right now. Another example, Alabama, they had this, that's a river. So this West Morgan, East Lawrence Water and Sewer Authority, they had a 3M facility that discharged like the one I showed earlier in North Carolina. Discharging 3M, the PFAS into the water bodies. So the people got sick, and also this authority sued the 3M company. They got the lawyers got $35 million from 3M, and then the lawyers gave $30 million to the city. I think they kept $5 million themselves. But they already started 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago, they started this treatment plant with a reverse osmosis inside this building, putting some membranes here. So this is happening right now. The lawsuits, 3M is losing 100% of the cases. So the people who are suing at the front end, they are lucky right now. So there is no ratepayer. I mean, the citizens are not paying for these treatment plants right now, but they will go maybe out of business in the future. But at least for now, as I said, about 90 to 100 lawsuits are going on. So they will be the people who are suing, especially for the municipalities. They will be in California and other states. They will be securing their infrastructure upgrade. So just to give an idea about some of these costs and the capacity on recent treatment systems, the reverse osmosis, the membrane plants are the best because they can remove to non-detect. So you don't know, the rules will tell to treat to this level or this level, but people doesn't know after 10 years, they will see even the lower level will have cancer. So the people who are, the cities who are doing these treatment plants are wanted to do until the non-detect. That means about 2 to 3 parts per trillion levels. I also have put landfill leachate because that's where very high concentrations are there, but it's a small treatment plant. I have finished this one in North Carolina in 18. That's about 75,000 gallons per day, about 4 million at that time. And it is treating and also discharging the treated leachate, non-detect PFAS into a river. So what will happen if you have a reverse osmosis plant? So you will treat through the membrane, and membrane might remove, maybe clean about 85% clean water, but 10-15% will go as a concentrate, because that is the where you concentrate the PFAS. So how do you manage that? So the volume of that concentrate is important, because the less the volume, the disposal cost is, that's a very high cost on that disposal cost, because nobody wants that PFAS concentrate to accept other than hazardous waste landfills or any other places. So they are concentrating back again another concentrate. So that means when you have a reverse osmosis plant, let's say you get 10 to 15%, so they will put another treatment system to take that 15% and reduce to 5%. So their volume is reduced 1/3 or 1/4, and that's the disposal cost. That's a very high cost. So people are using another step to concentrate the concentrate. That's happening. Landfills, sometimes incineration was tried. People tried to burn this PFAS waste, but guess what? It didn't do anything. It turned into a plume, and it went maybe 10-15 miles and dropped it into the lakes, and lakes got contaminated. So it's a very hard to break unless you go very, very high temperature, not incineration temperature, that you can break it. So there are so much research right now going on to treat this, to break this compound, as well as new technologies to handle this chemical. So the different steps to manage this, you have to first sample your water bodies, and then you can identify who are the people who are contaminated, because that's very important to get the money from. Typically, it's even, let's say you have a carpet manufacturer, and you can't, normally they don't sue the carpet manufacturer, they sue the chemical that is used in the carpet. So that is 3M. So 3M has the money, and that's why this is contaminated. So you need to look at who contaminated. If you find where it is coming from, that's a second step. And then you see how much it is going to be costly. You have to do some pilot testing, because your waters are different than other waters. You may have iron and other stuff in your water. You have to pre-treat it, and then that's how you need to look at. And also there are some infrastructure bill, Biden's infrastructure bill, $10 billion are just for PFAS management. So there are some funding available. So summarize, I think stay tuned to these regulations. If you have, your community has not sampled, it is good to have sampled these waters, and then see whether you can find these polluters. If you have industries that discharge to your sewer system, have a pre-treatment programs, and then be ready to have an action plan from these communities if PFAS is detected. With that, I will open for any questions. Okay.
I think it was slide 15. You were talking about in the research the GAC filters.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah.
What is the reason for some of those lower values?
Yeah, so that's, this 49% is the landfill leachate. So landfill leachate might have, it's very, very high concentration, like 10,000 or 13,000. That's what one of the landfill leachate plants I did, but I treated into non-detect. For the GAC, what happens is restricted. Okay, this one doesn't have any treatment system, but what they did in the last one here is they restricted. Let's say you have 100,000 gallons a day. They said, okay, only send 50,000. So they restricted for 49% acceptance. So it's not actually a reduction of the removal, but they said, just send me half of the loading. So that means what you can understand from there is they are doing a dilution. So they are still PFAS. Yep.
It's not mentioned that Texas, although it doesn't regulate PFAS in water,
Yeah.
wastewater, it does have levels of PFAS as of, I think that's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
For groundwater. So.
Yeah. So if a lot of states have, let's say Costco is going to build a facility on top of a landfill or a military base. So they have to remove the groundwater and the soil. So they have to do some sort of a cleanup target. So there's a provisional cleanup target, but it's case by case. They are evaluating in Florida. I have worked on a project similar to that. And if it is residential, like a residential, it's more stringent. If it is a Costco, it's not that stringent. So there is some levels, but after these MCLs in the next 3 years, when the MCLs come for the PFAS, it will be like across the board, there will be some standards, and then California will have below the EPA limits, because there are people are more concerned, like New England, Vermont, Maine, Michigan, even Wisconsin. Some of these states are going below the EPA limits because they want more cleanup. All right.
What happens with your water bill?
Yeah, so that's what I said. I mean, if you are able to get the funding from the polluters, the water bill will not be much changed. Only maybe the operation cost, the capital cost, they are going to save. They are going to maybe secure from 3M or DuPont. That's happening 100% right now. But for the O&M, there might be a little bit bump on the water bill. Yes.
Say carbon cost.
What?
The carbon cost. The water bill, the carbon cost.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I may have missed it. If I do, I apologize. But what are the documented human, animal, and plant negative effects of PFAS on those?
Yeah. So the definitely a different type of cancer. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, birth defect, kidney, and also vaccine. There were reports that COVID-19 vaccine, especially for the teenagers, it is if you have drink PFAS water, it is less responsive. So there is some research, but more one is the cancer. More cases are detected with the cancer. So there is 2 movies if you are interested to watch. One is called Dark Waters. So The Dark Waters is a movie that a family who worked in Parkersburg, Virginia, who worked in a DuPont plant, and then the kids, their mother also passed away, but the kid was born without a nose, and so it's an actual real movie. So that's Dark Waters is one, and there's a Netflix movie called The Devil We Know. The Devil We Know, it's a Netflix movie if you want to watch. And then The Dark Waters is an actual movie what's in theaters in 2019. These both movies are true stories, 100% related to PFAS. And lawyers have fight for PFAS. Some families, I'm talking about the lawsuits for the communities, but also they have the families who have sued these manufacturers have secured money because of their illness, and maybe some people have died. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Okay.
So that's 70.
Yeah.
Was that determined based on like a lifetime
Like,
exposure?
yes, yes. So it is medical research, and that's how they come and determine these numbers.
And the difference is in the smaller amount of California.
Yeah, because
Is that
they,
based on risk?
exactly, the risk assessment and more studies done in California than the EPA, and it is proven. So it's definitely a cancer causing, and everybody has it. We die and we don't know why we died, but so there is in the blood, and it has been tested not only with animals but also with humans. It is already.
All right, well, thank you very much for a great presentation. ASCE themed tumbler for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And now Griselda, the final number. What was our attendance today?
So we had 37 in person and 8 virtual for a total of 45.
All right, thank you. Turn it over to you, Sam.
All right, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Dr. DeSilva and Freese and Nichols and EWRI for presenting today. I want to encourage you to attend in June, where we'll hold our elections and receive a presentation from the Texas section regarding electrical infrastructure. And with that, I want to thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, I'll get
This is all yours. Thanks so much. That was very informative.